I walked into my birthday party and found a stranger crying at my baby photos. Please read this all the way through, because by the end, you'll understand why I don't see my mother the same way anymore. What started as a birthday surprise turned into a truth so twisted, I'm still unraveling it piece by piece. I was halfway through a whiskey and tired laugh when it happened. The door to my apartment creaked open. Jake, my roommate, 31 male, had insisted on a low-key surprise birthday thing, and I turned around expecting a wave of tipsy friends and badly wrapped gifts. Instead, I locked eyes with a woman I didn't know. Blonde, early 40s maybe, wearing a gray cardigan and an expression I couldn't place. She was standing in the hallway between my living room and the hallway to the bedrooms, where the old family photo albums were, and she was crying. Not a little choked-up sob. This was full-on. Shoulders shaking, hands clutching her mouth sobbing. Her eyes were red. Her mascara was bleeding into her cheeks, and spread out in front of her on the floor, my baby photos. Jake had pulled them out earlier, laughing about my bowl cut and the time I dressed as a dinosaur for Halloween at age 4. He'd left them near the stereo with a bottle of rum and some leftover cake. I hadn't really looked at them. Until now. The woman was on her knees, cradling one of the albums in her lap, staring at a photo of me in a sandbox. She whispered, "It's him," like the words weren't meant to leave her throat. I froze. Everyone froze. Someone behind me muttered, "Who is that?" But the words didn't stick. I stepped forward slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hey, are you okay?" She looked up at me, and for a second, I swear to God, she looked like she'd seen a ghost. Her eyes scanned my face like she was searching for proof. "You're Liam?" My name caught in her mouth like it hurt. "Yeah, I'm Liam," I said, heart suddenly thudding harder than it had any business doing at a birthday party. "And who are you?" She didn't answer. Jake stepped in. "Wait, is she with Sarah?" He turned toward my ex, Sarah, 29 female, who looked like she'd just swallowed a thumbtack. She shook her head violently. "I don't know her. I swear to God I didn't invite her." The woman wiped her nose with the sleeve of her cardigan. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to see him. I thought maybe just a glimpse, just to know." That's when I noticed her hands were trembling, and something inside me just snapped. "See me," I said, sharper now. "Lady, what the hell are you talking about?" She flinched, and then whispered something I will never forget for as long as I live. "I'm your birth mother." The room collapsed. Someone dropped a cup. Someone else gasped loud enough to make heads turn. My chest went cold. Not tight, not panicked, just cold. Like the air had been sucked out and replaced with static. Jake was saying something I couldn't hear. Sarah's voice rose in pitch. "That's not funny, you need to leave." But it was like I was underwater. Birth mother? That didn't make sense. My mom, Susan, 62 female, raised me. She had stretch marks and photo albums and tearful stories about my first steps. My dad died when I was 10. There was no adoption story, no clues, no whispers. But this woman, this stranger with shaking hands and bloodshot eyes, knew my name, knew my face, was holding a photo of me like it was sacred. I took another step toward her. My legs felt like wet sand. "What did you say?" She looked up at me again, tears still streaking down her face. "Liam, I'm so sorry. I wasn't supposed to come. I didn't mean to ruin anything. I saw the post, Jake's post, and the pictures, and I knew it was you." I turned to Jake. He looked stunned. "Wait, the Instagram story? The one with the throwback baby pics?" I didn't even remember him posting it. He must have pulled them from the albums. The woman, this person, clutched the photo tighter. "That's my son. That's my baby. You were wearing the little yellow overalls I picked out for the hospital." I couldn't breathe. Every molecule in the room shifted. Everyone was staring. My skin was prickling. I didn't know if I was going to throw up, scream, or run. Instead, I whispered, "My mother is downstairs. You need to leave before she sees you." The woman froze. "But she knows," she said quietly. "She always knew. She just never told you." She didn't fight me. She just nodded like her body had disconnected from her brain, set the photo down gently on the carpet like it might break, and stood up slowly, like every movement took convincing. Then she left. Didn't say another word. Didn't even close the door behind her. I stood there, staring at that damn photo on the floor. Me, chubby-cheeked, maybe 2 years old, yellow overalls, plastic beach shovel in one hand, the other buried in a sand bucket. Jake cleared his throat. "Dude," but I held up a hand. Couldn't do words yet. Sarah put a hand on my arm. "Liam, what did she mean? About your mom knowing?" I didn't respond. Just walked to my room, sat down on the edge of the bed, and picked up my phone. 5 minutes later, I was knocking on my mother's apartment door. She lived just downstairs. She opened it, smiling, in slippers and holding a cup of sleepy time tea. Her face dropped the second she saw mine. "You knew," I said. She didn't ask what I meant. Didn't even blink. Her lips parted slightly, but no sound came out. "You knew," I repeated, louder this time. "All these years. You looked me in the eyes and told me stories about giving birth, about the hospital, about Dad holding me for the first time. What the hell was that, Susan? Theater? Her jaw tightened. Come inside. No, I snapped. No more quiet places. You lie better in quiet places. That hit her. I saw it. I've never yelled at my mom before. Not like that. I was always the quiet kid, the polite one, the one who helped clean up after dinner and never broke curfew. But something had cracked inside me. There was no filter left. No leash. I saw her, I said. The woman. She was at my birthday. She was holding my baby photos like they were relics. She cried, Mom. She sobbed. And you didn't even tell me I was adopted? Susan set the cup down on the side table, hands trembling just slightly. She didn't deny it. Instead, she whispered, we weren't supposed to ever cross paths. My heart sank. That wasn't a denial. That was logistics. Who is she? She sighed, slow and shattering. Her name is Claire. She was 17. You were unplanned. Her parents made her put you up for adoption. We got the call because we'd been on the list for almost 2 years. I held you when you were 3 hours old. She looked me in the eyes like that would soften the next part. I never told you because I didn't want you to feel secondhand, like someone else's leftover. But I am, I said bitterly. A secret, a walking lie. No, she said quickly. You're my son. Every scraped knee, every sick day, every time you needed me, I was there. I am your mother. My throat clenched. I wanted to believe her. Part of me still did, but the other part, the part still stuck back in that room upstairs, watching a stranger cry over my toddler face, was screaming. Because that woman looked at me like I was her lost world, and I didn't even know her name until 5 minutes ago. I stepped back. Liam, she said softly, please, but I couldn't stay there. Not in that doorway. Not when my entire identity had just been yanked out from under me like a rug. So I left. I walked back upstairs. The party was dead silent. Jake had ushered people out. Sarah was on the couch, hugging her knees. When I walked in, she looked at me like she wanted to say something comforting. But then she saw my face and just nodded. We didn't speak for a long time. Later that night, I found the photo album still open on the floor. I stared at the picture again. The yellow overalls, the tiny shovel, the baby who didn't know his whole life was a story someone else had scripted. And tucked behind the photo, like it had slipped out accidentally, was a note, faded, handwritten, the ink barely legible. To my little sunshine, I'm sorry I can't keep you. Please know I love you always. Your first mom. I didn't sleep that night. And the next day, I texted Claire. Meet me. We need to talk. We met in the corner booth of a diner that looked like it hadn't been remodeled since 1984. The kind of place with cracked vinyl seats and waitresses who call everyone Han. Claire was already there when I arrived, nursing a coffee that had long since gone cold, turning the mug between her palms like she didn't know what else to do with her hands. She looked smaller than she had the night before, less haunted, more human, fragile in that way people look when they've cried themselves dry. I slid into the booth across from her. Didn't speak at first, just looked at her. She looked back. I don't even know how to start, she whispered. Try. Claire took a breath so deep I could hear it crack in her chest. You were born on a Tuesday, June 7th, at 3:14 in the morning. 8 pounds, 6 ounces. I remember every second. My stomach twisted. I begged them, she continued. I begged to hold you just a little longer, but they took you from me after 20 minutes. My parents had already signed the papers. I was 17 and terrified. They told me it was for the best, that I wouldn't be able to give you the life you deserved. Her eyes brimmed again, but she blinked the tears back. I thought I was doing the right thing, until the day came that I couldn't stop wondering who you were, if you were happy, if you liked dogs, if you were allergic to peanut butter, all the dumb little things only a mom obsesses about. I clenched my jaw. I didn't even know your name, she said, until yesterday. How did you find me? I asked. Claire looked down, guilty. I searched. A few years ago, I hired a private investigator, just to know if you were okay, not to reach out. I swear. But then I saw Jake's post last week, the throwback baby photos, and I knew. I felt like I was on fire under my skin, not from anger, not entirely, but because every word she said rearranged the furniture in my brain. You broke the rules, I said quietly. You weren't supposed to contact me, she nodded. I know, I saw your face and it all came back, and I couldn't stay away. We sat in silence. Then I asked something I hadn't planned to. Did you ever think about me on my birthdays? Claire let out a shaky laugh that sounded more like a sob. Every single one. I used to light a candle on your birthday and sing to the wall. Every year. That hurt in ways I didn't know I could hurt. And the worst part? I believed her. We sat there for almost an hour. I asked questions I didn't know I needed to ask. Did she ever have more kids? Number. Did she ever tell anyone about me? Only her therapist and her husband. Did she love me? Yes, she said, like the answer had never once changed. Always. By the time I left the diner, I felt like my skeleton didn't fit right anymore. Like I had 2 parallel lives folded into one body, and neither of them felt fully mine. I didn't go home. I drove. I ended up at my mom's again. This time, I didn't knock. Susan opened the door and her face fell. Liam, I stepped inside, heart pounding. I was shaking with something that wasn't quite rage but had claws just the same. You let me believe a lie for 28 years. I was trying to protect you. From what? From loving someone who already loved me? From knowing where I came from? She started to cry. I didn't care. I couldn't care yet. You had my baby book staged like a set piece, I said. Every story, every photo, curated. What was real, Mom? Was anything real? I am your mother, she insisted. She gave you away. I raised you, and she never stopped loving me. The silence that followed that sentence was the kind that makes rooms feel colder. I met her today, I said. I'm going to keep talking to her. Susan sat down, like her knees couldn't hold her up anymore. You're choosing her, she whispered. I'm choosing the truth. And I walked out before she could weaponize her tears again. A week passed. One of those warped weeks where time feels like it's both sprinting and crawling, like your body's on fast forward but your head's stuck on rewind. Claire and I started texting, slowly, carefully. She never pushed. She just waited. She'd ask little things. My favorite color, if I liked hiking, if I still hated broccoli like I did when I was 2. And I'd answer, even when I didn't want to because a part of me was desperate to know her too. Susan stopped speaking to me. No calls, no texts, radio silence. Like cutting me out was easier than facing the mess she'd created. Until the envelope showed up. Plain white, no return address. Just my name and her handwriting. Inside, one photograph. A picture of my nursery. Yellow walls, a crib, the mobile I remember spinning, and on the back, her writing. You were always mine. Don't forget who stayed. It was so manipulative. So perfectly Susan. Guilt served ice cold in cursive. I threw it in the trash. But that wasn't the end of it. Saturday, I got a call from Sarah. Her voice was shaking. You need to get to your mom's. Now. I was already halfway there when she told me what happened. Claire showed up at Susan's apartment. I don't know how the hell she found her address, probably some breadcrumb I accidentally dropped. But she went. She knocked. She wanted to say something. Apologize. Maybe even thank her. Closure. Or whatever version of that she thought possible. Susan didn't answer the door. She opened the window above the stoop and screamed at her. Screamed. Called her a thief, a liar, the woman who tried to ruin my family, said she should have stayed buried in the past where she belonged. Neighbors heard it, someone filmed it. Claire stood there, didn't move, didn't yell back, just cried and left. When I got to Susan's, the hallway still smelled like anger, and something inside me just snapped. I banged on the door. She opened it. You harassed her? I asked. She showed up at my home, Liam. What did you expect me to do? Invite her in for tea? I expected you to act like a human being. I expected you not to traumatize the woman who gave birth to your son. Her face twisted. She gave birth to you. I raised you. That was never supposed to be her role. And whose decision was that? She didn't answer, so I pushed past her into the living room. It looked exactly the same as always. Cozy, spotless, carefully curated. Except now it made my skin crawl. It felt like a museum of the lie I'd lived. You made me a prop in your fantasy, Mom. A perfect little boy who never asked where he came from. You never had to ask, she snapped. You were loved. You were safe. That should have been enough. But it wasn't true. She slapped the coffee table with the flat of her hand, suddenly furious. She abandoned you. She didn't want you. I stared at her, cold. She wanted me every day after. That's more than I can say for you right now. Then I turned, walked out. But not before I grabbed the old baby photo album off the shelf. It wasn't hers anymore. That night, Claire texted me again. Just 4 words. I'm sorry I came. And something about it cracked me open. Because it wasn't her fault. She didn't come to ruin anything. She came to reclaim something. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, you didn't ruin anything. She did. Update 1. So, wow. I didn't expect this to blow up. I posted because I needed to say it, needed it out of my body. But I woke up to hundreds of comments, DMs, even a couple of emails. Reddit, how do you people find my email? First of all, thank you. Seriously. Some of you made me laugh for the first time in days. Some of you hit me right in the chest with your stories. And a few of you? Yeah, you might want to unpack your own mom issues before projecting them onto mine. But still, thank you. To answer the most common questions. Yes, I'm still talking to Claire. In fact, after that scene at my mom's, I drove to her place and just sat in my car until I had the nerve to knock. She opened the door and before either of us could speak, we just hugged. It wasn't pretty. I cried. She cried harder. It wasn't a movie moment. It was ugly and real and honest. No, I haven't spoken to Susan since. She texted once. Just one line. I hope you're happy. Which, if I'm honest, felt like a threat dressed as a passive-aggressive Hallmark card. And yes, I confronted her about the nursery photo. I told her point blank, you don't get to weaponize memories you faked. I meant that. That photo of the nursery? The mobile wasn't even the one from my first memory. I remembered dinosaurs. That one had stars. The room was staged. That realization hit me like a gut punch. I started looking at all our old albums, every carefully framed snapshot, and all I could see were stage directions. Smile here, look happy here, don't ask questions here. But here's the real reason I'm updating. The funeral's next week. Yeah, you read that right. Not mine, not Susan's. Claire's mother, my biological grandmother, passed away 2 days ago, and Claire called me, hesitant, almost apologizing for even considering it, and said, I don't expect anything. I'd like you to be there, even if you don't stand with us. Just somewhere, in the room. And you know what? I said yes. Because after years of being someone else's lie, I want to choose what kind of person I am. And if that person is someone who shows up when it matters, even for people I'm still getting to know, then yeah, I'll be in that room. I haven't told Susan. She'll probably find out. She'll probably lose it. And I'm no longer scared of that. Because this part is mine. The funeral was in a small church with faded pews and chipped hymnals, the kind of place that smells like old wood and lost time. Claire sat in the front row next to a man I assumed was her husband. Tall, quiet, face like a worn-out page. She held a crumpled tissue and kept glancing back, like she wasn't sure I'd actually come. But I did. I stood in the back, hands clenched behind my back, wearing a borrowed suit that didn't quite fit. I wasn't ready to grieve someone I never knew, but I was there for Claire. For the woman who'd held me for 20 minutes and never stopped looking for me again. Halfway through the service, she turned fully and saw me. Her whole body softened. Afterward, people milled around, saying generic things about peace and heaven. I stayed back, waiting until the crowd thinned out. Claire walked up to me slowly, like I might disappear if she moved too fast. You came, she said. I said I would. She looked at me like she wanted to hug me again, but didn't want to overstep. So I made it easy. I reached first. We stood like that for maybe a minute, maybe more. Then she pulled back and said, My mother knew about you. She always did. She told me, near the end, that she regretted everything. Not meeting you. Not fighting harder to let me keep you. I didn't know what to say to that, so I didn't say anything. Sometimes silence does the job better. Then Claire added, She left something for you. She reached into her purse and pulled out a letter. Handwritten. Old. The paper looked soft, like it might fall apart if I breathed too hard. To Liam, it read on the envelope. I didn't open it. Not yet. Instead, I left the church, got in my car, and drove straight to my mother's apartment. I didn't knock this time either. She opened the door and froze when she saw me holding the letter. You knew, I said. You knew Claire's mother changed her mind. Susan's face went pale. What are you talking about? I held up the letter. She wrote to me, before the adoption was finalized. She asked to meet me someday. You got this letter, didn't you? Her lips twitched. That was sealed information. How would I? Because it was in the adoption file, I snapped. Because the agency was legally required to forward it to you. And you never told me. You burned it, didn't you? She didn't deny it. I was wanted, I said, voice breaking. You told me she abandoned me. You made me believe I was a secret nobody cared to find. But you knew. You chose to erase her. Susan's voice cracked. She gave you up, Liam. I gave you everything. That should have meant something. It did, I said. But it doesn't mean you get to rewrite my whole life. And then I pulled out the album, the one I took from her bookshelf. I started tearing out photos, one by one. Not to destroy them, but to rearrange them. The first picture in that album now? It's Claire holding me. The nurse snapped it. She gave me a copy after the funeral. I left Susan sitting on the couch crying into her hands. The album, now missing pages, sat open on the coffee table. Let her look at the gaps. Let her feel the loss. Because this time, she was the one being erased. It took exactly 3 days for Susan to retaliate. Not with words, not even with a phone call. No, she went nuclear in the most Susan way possible. Through my workplace. She mailed a packet, a literal packet, to my job. My boss called me into his office with this weird look on his face, like he didn't know whether to be confused or concerned. He held it up, manila envelope, my name typed neatly on the front. No return address. Inside? Printouts of Claire's Facebook posts, ones where we were tagged together recently. Photos of us having coffee, walking in the park, one where she hugged me after the funeral. But the captions, Claire's words, made it obvious we were reconnecting. So proud of the man you've become. 28 years late, but every minute matters. My boss looked up at me and said, Do you have a stalker? I laughed. I laughed because that was the only thing keeping my brain from splitting open. No, I said. I just have a mother with control issues. He handed the packet over. I flipped through it and saw more. Copies of the adoption paperwork. Legal names, dates. Susan had literally dug up every piece of confidential information she could find to prove that Claire had no right to contact me. And tucked into the back, a sticky note in Susan's handwriting. You're throwing away everything, just like she did. I didn't say anything to my boss. Just nodded, walked out, and drove straight to her apartment. When she opened the door, I didn't even go inside. You violated my privacy. You sent personal documents to my employer. I was protecting you, she hissed. She's manipulating you, Liam. You don't know her. You're right, I said. I don't, but I'm learning, which is more than you ever let me do. Then I handed her something I'd been holding onto, a photo of me and Claire from last week. We're sitting on a bench, both laughing at something dumb, sunlight in our faces. No pain, no drama, just real. On the back, I'd written, "This is the part you don't get to control." She slammed the door in my face. I stood there for a while, staring at the wood. Then I left, again. But the damage wasn't over. That night, I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. I played it and heard Claire's voice, shaking. "Liam, I don't know what your mother said to my husband, but he's livid. She contacted him, told him I was emotionally destabilizing her son and trying to interfere in your life. He thinks I'm obsessed. He's talking about separation. Jesus, Liam, I'm so sorry." My heart dropped. She went after Claire's marriage. She couldn't control me anymore, so she tried to destroy the one person giving me answers. This wasn't grief. This was war. And I was done playing defense. Update 2. Okay, deep breath. Let's catch up. I never wanted this to be a saga. I didn't think birthday surprise turns into bio mom reunion from hell would become my entire personality, but here we are. First off, thank you again. Some of y'all have been ride or die in these comments, and I genuinely appreciate it. A few folks even offered legal help. I'm good for now, but damn, the internet comes through. Also, to the guy who DM'd me a Photoshop of Susan's face on a Sith Lord, thank you for the laugh. I needed it. After Susan went full scorched earth and tried to torpedo Claire's marriage by calling her husband, things spiraled fast. Claire and I didn't talk for 2 days. She was giving me space, and I was spiraling. Because guilt's a weird thing. I didn't cause the drama, but I dragged her into it, and she almost lost everything. Again. Then, Tuesday morning, I got a text from Claire. He left. 2 words, but they punched a hole through me. I called her immediately. She picked up, voice raw. He said he can't compete with a ghost, that I've spent our entire marriage waiting for a part of me I gave away. I didn't know what to say, so I just said the truth. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry," she sniffled. "Don't be. This wasn't your fault. I think I just needed to stop pretending I didn't miss you." And that's when I realized something. Susan hadn't ruined Claire's life. She'd revealed it. She'd yanked the curtain down. Claire's marriage, already crumbling, the grief she'd buried for decades, already rotting her from the inside. Susan didn't set the fire. She just threw a spotlight on the ashes. So I stopped playing defense. I called my mom. She didn't answer, so I posted instead. 1 photo, me and Claire. Same park bench, same smile. But this time the caption read, "This is my mother, the first one, the one who held me, lost me, and never stopped looking. If you're wondering who I am, it starts here." It went semi-viral. Family saw it. Old friends messaged me. People I hadn't heard from in years suddenly had opinions. And you know what? I let them talk. I didn't respond, didn't defend, didn't explain, because for the first time I got to control the narrative. Not Susan, not secrecy, me. Later that week, Claire invited me over. Just us. No tension, no drama. And she gave me a box. Inside were old journals, letters she'd written to me over the years, birthday cards she never mailed. Notes like, "Liam would be 5 today. Would he like dinosaurs?" I sat there for an hour, crying silently while she folded laundry next to me like it was any other Tuesday. It was the most peaceful moment I've had in months. So here's where things stand. Claire and I are rebuilding. No labels, no pressure, just showing up, one moment at a time. Susan, still silent, but I know she saw the post. Her sister liked it. Petty win? Maybe. I'll take it. My birthday? Sucked. But the day after felt like rebirth. I don't know where this ends, but I know where it doesn't. It doesn't end in silence. It doesn't end with me pretending the past didn't happen. And it sure as hell doesn't end with me apologizing for wanting to know who I really am. Susan finally broke her silence. She didn't call. She didn't text. She showed up at my apartment, unannounced, 10 minutes before midnight. I heard the knock, looked through the peephole, and there she was, drenched in rain, hair stuck to her face, clutching something against her chest like it was the last thing tethering her to reality. I opened the door, mostly out of reflex. She stepped in without waiting, pushed past me, dripping all over the floor, and dropped something onto my kitchen table with a wet thud. It was a box, my baby teeth, old report cards, the lock of hair from my first haircut, all the firsts she'd hoarded like trophies. "I kept everything," she said, voice shaking, "everything she gave away." I didn't touch the box, didn't even look inside. Instead, I leaned against the counter and asked, "Why are you here?" She looked at me like she didn't recognize my face. "Because you're mine." "No," I said. "I'm not anyone's possession. You're my son." I'm a man who was raised by a woman who lied to him for nearly 3 decades, Who tore down someone else's life the moment she felt power slipping away? Who used love like a leash? Susan flinched like I'd hit her. I didn't lie to hurt you. Number you lied to keep me. There's a difference. She sank into a chair, soaked and shaking. Do you really think I don't love you? That's not the point, I said. The question is, do you respect me enough to let me choose who I want in my life? Silence. Then her eyes landed on the framed photo of me and Claire on my bookshelf. You're replacing me, she whispered. No, I said quietly. You replaced yourself. She stood up slowly, fingers brushing the box like it could still save her. She didn't earn you. Neither of you did, I snapped. I'm not a prize. I'm a person. And you don't get to pit motherhood against motherhood like it's a contest. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. I met her. I chose to meet her. You don't get to unchoose that for me. Then I picked up the box and handed it back. Take this. I'm not interested in relics of a curated childhood anymore. Her eyes filled with tears. You'll regret this someday? No, I said, but I think you might. I opened the door. She walked out. This time she didn't slam it. The next morning, Claire texted me. You okay? I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I typed, I think I am. Finally. It's been 2 months since that night. I haven't heard from Susan since. No cryptic texts, no guilt-laced voicemails, no envelopes slipped under my door. Just silence. For the first time in my life, she's not watching me, not pulling the strings, not twisting her disappointment into weapons. And I've never felt more free. Claire and I meet every Sunday now. Sometimes we walk by the river. Sometimes we just sit in her kitchen while she makes tea and tells me stories she's never told anyone, like how she used to hum a lullaby when she was pregnant with me, some old song her grandmother sang, and how she swears she heard me humming it in one of Jake's Instagram videos. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's something deeper. She gave me a bracelet a few weeks ago. Leather, worn. Inside engraved, found, not lost. I wear it every day. There's no Mom 1 or Mom 2 anymore. Just reality. One woman raised me. Another gave me life. Both shaped me, for better or worse. I don't need to rewrite the story. I just need to own the rest of it. Jake, bless his chaotic heart, printed the photo of Claire holding my baby picture and framed it. It hangs above my desk now, next to a post-it that just says, Truth greater than comfort. I've started therapy. Not the sit and vent kind. The real work. The scary kind. The kind that asks questions like, when did you learn love meant silence? And, who told you your story didn't belong to you? And every time I leave a session, I walk a little taller. Sometimes healing doesn't look like peace. Nah. Sometimes it looks like a stranger crying at your baby photos. Sometimes it looks like setting a boundary and watching someone collapse on the other side of it. But sometimes, if you're lucky, healing looks like finding the one person who lost you and hearing them say, I knew you'd find your way back. So yeah, I walked into my birthday party expecting cake and bad jokes. Instead, I found the ghost of a life I never knew I had, and I made her real. Thanks for walking this with me. Keep the lights on. You never know who's coming home.